Right, people, now let's listen to this discourse right here. This is where we're going to compare what these guys have to say to what we just learned and see who's telling the truth.
It's not Ashan, which means burnt village. It's Asante. They'll check you on that real quick. Two, that picture that it showed of that Asante priest crossing the Pra River, that was a drawing. Three, that chest plate that he had on, that chest plate is with those plate did not contain the 12 tribes of Israel like that book tried to push. Those are Indinkra symbols that the Asante wear around their neck that had nothing to do with some ephod that we've never found. So how would they even know what an ephod looks like when they've never found an Israelite ephod? So, I mean, the book is garbage. Throw it away. Y'all can throw it away. I'm seriously, throw it away. Yeah, the Portuguese had already been there since the 14th, 15th century. They were already there, converting to Christianity, converting some into Judaism. They were there. Hey, Yasha, but would you agree, Yasha is in the audience? Yasha, if you want, you can come on the link. Would you agree that Asante, if it's Asante, Ashanti in English, they use the Ashanti to connect it to Ashan. That's why the ASH to Ashan, the people in Genesis. I don't know.
No, I said what I had to say.
Another thing too is that if you look at Hebrewisms in West Africa, you're gonna be again. He wasn't in Africa to survey the people in Africa. I don't know how he knows what the people in Africa do, because at the end of the day.
Hold up. Because you will hold up on my page. See, the problem was that Chris Harris had got on here and said that he knew some people from the Ashantis, and he went to them and said, hey, the Ashantis, they are Israelites. And he said, hold up. Let me correct you. It's Asante. He didn't say, what he should have said was, these people said, hold up. We're not Israelites, we're Asante. He never did say that these people didn't say that they were Israelites. He said that the only thing he said was they corrected him on the name. Now, this is where it gets ridiculous at.
At the end of the day, they're not Israelites. But they were black people who were Jews, but they weren't slaves that came on the ships. We need to understand some of these slave owners owned these slaves, and wherever Jews went, Sephardic Jews who were able to practice their religion, that's where all the slaves just happened to end up. In Jamaica, in Barbados, in Puerto Rico, all over they built synagogues. So why are these people building synagogues and they follow Orthodox Judaism and follow the Talmud and the Torah?
What he is doing is trying to explain away his first guess. Garfield had got on here earlier, as we can see, talking about how the Maroons were not Israelites. And a young brother came on there saying how he had how he had proof, the line of descent, and how Cujo, I think, was like his ninth grandfather. And he said he has the proof, he has the line of descent, and he talked about a maroon celebration that is soon to come to pass. Hopefully the brother get a chance to get down there, or if he's down there, hopefully that he enjoy himself in the celebration. He said that he is a maroon. And he said that the Maroons do say that they're Israelites. And he said that there's anthropological evidence that suggests that there's by no stretch of the imagination that these people are not equivalent with the Israelites. But Garfield tends to tell a Maroon that they don't that these traditions are not real. He keep telling people that the Maroons don't have these traditions, but a Maroon comes in and check him. Okay, and that's what he is doing. He is going down there to say that he's trying to say that there were Sephardics now, and that there were Sephardics and Ashkenazis there, but he's still trying to declare that these people were white. And he's going to try to prove that. And I had a refutation for that when he tried to go there with me, but they cut me off and didn't let me go there. So I'll deal with that tonight.
They don't know nothing about no New Testament. You know what? Hey, Garfield, a couple of days ago, Gideon was telling me that the first king of Ghana was in fact an Israelite. So me, Sutek, and Sean P, we were trying to hold him to that. And the first thing you would say is, okay, where do they speak about a man named Yeshua or Jesus at in any of their oral traditions? If this king was an Israelite, it tells you in the Bible that the king is to write the law from the priest. Where's his priesthood at? Where's the language at? How come you're not using the historical method to match these people up, such as presenting us an Israelite culture? You should be able to easily identify it. You can't be under the curses one minute.
Well, right, you can't be under the curses one minute and then out from under it the next. The thing about it is, Chris, is that they were under the curses. You understand? And one of the curses we read about in the Psalms to talk about how there was a conspiracy against Israel and a tumult against them. And it talked about how Israel was to be cut off from being a nation. All right, and I'll deal with that when I'm done. And it talks about how they were to be cut off from being a nation. And we come to find that was true. We know that Askia Muhammad had cut the Israelites off in 1492 at the conception and the very beginning of the Songhai Empire. We know this, and at the same year, we know that the Christians were cutting Israel off as a nation as well in 1492, the same year in Spain. So we had both the Muslims and the Christians going to war with the Israelites, expelling them out of the lands, banning them, their practices, their religion, and every evidence of them. Okay? And that's why there's no evidence of them. Many have converted to Islam to escape persecution and death. One of these is called the Alhambra Decree. And this is why there's no evidence of them, Chris. And I told you that there was sufficient evidence, and these are historical facts. And you can act ignorant and say, do I have a reference for that? And I do. You understand? But if you knew history, you wouldn't be asking for a reference for things that are historic. If I said that Abraham Lincoln was the president of the United States, or even got more specific and said that George Washington was the first president of the United States, you should not be asking me, do I have any sources or references for that? That's called being ignorant, because what's understood must not be explained. You should not be asking for sources and references for things that you understand to be facts, sir.
And then turn right around and said you got a kingdom of Israel sitting right there that's flourishing in West Central Africa. It makes absolutely no sense, bro. Y'all got to stop it. Either y'all going to take this text literal or you not. Come on, Yasha. You want to jump on? Jump on, Yasha. Jump on, man.
Here comes the red man.
Indigenous black man, why don't you jump on? You're always talking in the chat. You and the other brother from England, man. Come on down, man. Come on down. The brother got mad again. He came on. He apologized. But what happened is when you call yourself teacher, you don't want to be taught. So that's right. And then when I say you have to have your sources, he get nervous because he doesn't have any sources. He doesn't want to talk. But I'm ready for all the nonsense.
That's right.
The fireworks begin today, not tomorrow.
Good, but until they start sparking, because I haven't seen none yet. Y'all got sparked up by two. JJ7000 just called me a minute ago, told me he was over there on the same show and sparked them up. I didn't get a chance to see that. But, yeah, I reserve the right to use these clippings for entertainment, critiquing, and educational purposes. This is my disclosure.
Come on this panel so we can have an intelligent conversation. Bring them sources that y'all like to use so MVP can debunk them today live on air. Yasha stepping up. Come on, Yasha. What's up? What's up, your boy?
What's up, baby? You all right?
I heard you from Romulus, Detroit. What's poppin'?
Nah, man.
No, man, I ain't from Romulus, man. I'm from the motor mitten, murder mitten, baby. But anyway, notice how Chris is not going to debunk not one source that I bring. I only brought one DNA source, and he didn't debunk none of that. In fact, he did a horrible job explaining, really holding up the things that he said to me. He was too busy trying to hold up the things he said to me, and he did a horrible job with that. In fact, he didn't have much time to debunk anything that I said.
Man, not Romulus, homie. No, the east side of the motor mitten, my brothers.
All right, so what's on your mind?
No, you just invited me up, man. So I just came up, you know.
All right.
That was it.
Okay, do you believe in a historical Abraham?
I believe in the Torah, and I believe in the tenets and the law, statutes, and commandments of the Torah. Okay. To believe in Abraham, if I did believe in Abraham, and I do, a belief is nothing more than that which I accept to be the truth. And I have that right to do that and to have that.
Okay. All right, I respect that. Can you think you're able to prove him as a historical individual or prove any of the stories he's attached to?
No, and I don't have to. I just have to.
No. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just asking if you can, because maybe you have an argument I haven't heard. Because an argument that
Now, you notice that, you see how he just cut me off, people. And when you cut them off, they get mad. That's the first time that that's the first time I've been cut off in my speech. Okay? But when you cut them off, then they want to say that you have no decorum, and I have to ask, and I had to ask the people, I mean, okay, let's say I have no decorum for me cutting you off. Do that mean the same thing with you? That you have no decorum when you cut me off? Because clearly he just cut me off.
the Yara makes is that Sodom and Gomorrah is real. I don't know if you've heard that argument because of the ear bust. They had some report from these Christian people who are digging, and they said some place that was blown up 1650 BC, and he's arguing me on my timeline. And I said, okay, so you're saying that Abraham was alive at 1650. I'm thinking Abraham is alive 2200 to 2000 BC, according to the normal biblical timeline. But then that's thrown out the window all of a sudden. Then the place where they claimed in Sodom and Gomorrah was livable. People lived there. Because remember, God cursed it so much, nobody could live there ever again. But there was people living there in different eras. 200 years later, 400 years later, 600 years later, 1,000 years later, people living there. So how is this place Sodom and Gomorrah? But people see stuff on things just to prove the Bible. I'm like, why are we trying to prove ancient Near East literature? I just don't get it.
Well, I get it. What you're trying to do is get me to argue something that's not my business or not my concern. And I see that. I'm an intellect, my brother. That's that man's argument, and I'm going to let that man deal with his argument. He said it, allow him to prove it. I don't care what he said. It's not my place to prove what another man said.
Why are we trying?
The thing with me is this, brother, is that you'll never get me involved in the argumentum ad ignorantium logical fallacy, my brother. You will never get me arguing about things that I cannot prove. If I can't prove something, it is just what it is. And if I believe it, then it is what I accept to be the truth. You don't have to prove a belief, all right? One thing is for certain.
Say that again, brother. Say that again. You know what?
Yeah, you don't have to prove a belief, but when you argue things that there's no evidence for, well, there's no evidence of God. Can you prove them? See, the thing about it is that when a person gives the argument from ignorance, what they do is they can't prove something, and they'll make the statement and the claim, and they shift the burden of proof upon the person. When you made the claim that there's no Abraham, then you prove it. Okay, you said there's no God, you prove it. Okay, you say that we're not Israel, you prove it. The burden of proof is upon you. It's not the burden of proof for me to prove the things that you say or what you disagree with. That's for you to prove those things. Okay?
You don't have to prove a belief. A belief is yours and it belongs strictly to you. And you have every right in the world to practice that. Now, the reason I don't argue the argumentum ad ignorantium is that I don't make arguments from ignorance. So when one says that make an argument to or for, saying that, let's say, for instance, Abraham, making an argument based on whether Abraham existed or not. That is something that you cannot prove whether he existed or not. God is something you cannot prove whether it existed or not. And to make an argument for or against it is an argument from ignorance, and I don't participate in those arguments.
Would you agree though that the problems in Genesis regarding Dan, the place called Dan, the Ur of Chaldees, the kings in Genesis 14, because the kings in Genesis 14, you have to agree, is a direct connection to Abraham. He's saying that he had connection to them. He also said he had connection to the Philistines, to a king who went by the title of Abimelech. He also had contact with the Hittites, the Arameans, Sodom and Gomorrah, Beersheba. All these places didn't exist until the 12th century BC, almost 1,000 years after Abraham. You don't think that's actually evidence within itself to say, hey, why is it that this story about this guy, he's not connected to any of the stories that he's telling?
Hey, the only thing that I can say about that is that's his argument. He got to stand on it. I don't know whether he has that proof or not, and we would only see it when somebody take him up on that debate.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that these are the arguments. I'm saying that the problems with Abraham, that all these things are stories within the Bible. There's no way to attach him to the stories. You understand what I'm saying? It's like me writing a story about Yara, right? And saying, hey, Yasa was born in 1973, but every story that he tells is attached to the 1920s with Noble Drew Ali. That's telling me.
Let me tell you how that.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm writing a story about you, but every story that I'm writing about you is a story. No, I'm sorry. That's a bad analogy. You're writing a story, and you're writing a story that's projected to 1990. I'm sorry, from 1920. But everything that you're talking about is in the 1980s or the 90s. You're talking about you was dunking like Jordan. You played with Jordan, and you used to defeat Pippen in one-on-ones, but you lived in 1920. How are you doing that if you lived in 1920? That's the point.
See, the thing with this thing goes is like this, and I can only tell you about me, all right? What I do is I believe, and this is what I accept to be the truth, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you something about legends. My uncle is a legend. My uncle Thomas Whitfield, the gospel legend. He's a gospel music legend, brother. And when these people die, people take on stories. You can look my uncle up right now. There's false information about him, saying that he had, 2 brothers. This man had like 9 brothers, man. 9 brothers and sisters. You dig what I'm saying? Hold on for a second. I got a call coming in.
Yeah, Chris, you want to jump in?
But anyway, I'm gonna wait to finish. So they lied about his birth. The year he was born. So there's things in the story that is not accurate. I know because I'm the man's nephew. At the end of the day, that has not stopped people from listening to his music. You understand? That have not stop people from getting the moral of his existence. And as well with any story, okay? When you read a story, whether it is Israel had our myths. We had our myths, just like everybody else had their myths. We had our histories, just like everybody else had their histories. We had everything that any other society was to have.
And I have to validate that because the very word proverb, as in the book of Proverbs, is the word Meshilia. And this word, it means poems, songs, maxims, legends, myths, riddles, and proverbs. So we had all of those things.
And when you're reading a story that is mythological, passed down by word of mouth, the most important thing of those kind of stories, or any kind of story for that matter, is that you get the moral of the story. Okay? I mean, it's not to be worried about how big the fish was that swallowed Jonah. The moral of the story was to do what God said do. If not, then there will be consequences to pay. When we talking about the story about the talking donkey, these were Israelite machiliums, which are Israelite myths. And we have our myths. We shouldn't be concerned about whether a donkey talked in a mythological story as opposed to doing what God told Balaam to do. Balaam didn't want to do what God told him to do, and he had another agenda which caused him to have to meet the angel. You understand what I'm saying? It caused him to have to pay the consequences for not doing what God said do. When you read a story, you have to learn not to get to the point to where you can't see the forest for the trees. And I'm saying that in any story, it is the moral of the story that you are supposed to get. If I was to go outside and say, it's raining cats and dogs, you do not look for literal cats and dogs to fall from the sky. You look for the moral of what I'm trying to actually express, and that is that it is raining really hard outside.
All right, beloved. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my position.
Well, in the chat, I find that a little bit. You did something in the chat when I was speaking of the Akan people, and I said anybody can go look them up and look at the pictures and view their culture with their own eyes. Part of clothing is culture. Would you agree that the way you wear your clothes is part of our culture today and of antiquity? Would you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm saying that because as an African American, me wearing Gucci's and Louis does not reflect my African culture. It does reflect
I did not
my
say
culture
that.
as an
Hold on, stop. I didn't say that.
Hold on.
I said it would reflect our, excuse me, let me finish. You answered the question.
No, I did not. I was steady talking, and you just cut me off. That's the second time they cut me off. You tell me I answered the question, but I did not finish answering the question. Okay? You cut me off, bruh. Garfield cut me off. You cut me off. And then when I start doing these things to you, I have no decorum. This is why I have to ask, but what happens in the case when you cut me off? Do that mean that you don't have any decorum? You motherfuckers don't have any decorum, brother. It can't be it works for you and don't work for me. If I cut you off, I don't have any decorum. If cutting people off is a sign of no decorum, then you motherfuckers don't have no decorum because you started it. Okay? You have the worst decorum, and it's ungenuine and it's disingenuous because you act like you do have decorum when you don't. You invited me on your show to cut me off. Both of you guys. Okay? That's called no decorum, my nigga. Especially if I do it to you. It's not no decorum when you cut me off and you keep cutting me off. It's called revenge, my nigga. That's what it's called. It's called fuck decorum at this point. I mean, just for real.
It will reflect our culture. Excuse me. Let me ask a question because you understood exactly what I said. When you look at the Akan people, they're not wearing fringes and things like that. They're actually wearing leopard skins. When you look at their priests, they have gold around their neck. They wear Ndinkra symbols. Their women wear the crown. Some of their women are even wearing the crown of Hathor in certain pictures when you're looking at the Akan people. So this would be...
So nothing. You talking about these things like Ndinkra symbols, but what we're telling you is why is it that the people who study Ndinkra know and can identify the similarities in the Israelite culture, like within that Ndinkra symbolic breastplate. I don't care what you say. That Ndinkra symbolic breastplate is identical to the Levitical breastplate, and that is what was expressed in the book Hebrewism in West Africa, and that is the part that you don't like. The very Indinkra symbolic breastplate is 100% identical, my friend, to the Levitical breastplate, my brother. Now let's get back to this.
He's showing me if I'm looking at them, they have nothing to do with Israelites. That is what you call a historical anthropological method. That I can look at these people and look at how they dress versus the Bible where it tells.
There's no such thing as this, what do you say, a historical anthropological method. There is no such thing as a historical anthropological method. This guy talks and just make up shit as he go. And this is sad. This is sad. You know, I ask you and I challenge you to explain the anthropological historical method, Christopher. Can you explain it? Because what you have is not any type of research method, my friend, requires the collection of data. Okay, the evaluation of data. Okay, uh, materials and tools that you've used to collect the data. You ain't got none of that stuff over here. So you don't have no fucking methodology, brother. Stop it.
Shows you how you guys are supposed to dress and wear your clothes. They don't have anything to do with what's in your book. And you said, how can you prove that? So now here you're implying or you're trying to set up some type of pseudo stance that these people.
No, I didn't. I said you can't prove that. I didn't ask you how can you prove that. How, brother, how can you prove by looking at a fucking photo that these people were not the children of Israel? How? That's just about as ludicrous as saying that you looking at a person from Africa, an African American photo today, and you can tell that he is from or not from any particular place in Africa. That's foolish, brother. Especially when you're dealing with descent. You cannot look at me today and tell whether I was a fucking Zulu or a Shanti or a Fanti or none of that foolishness. Stop it.
Probably are Israelites. You can't prove it by just by looking at them. I didn't say just look at them. I also mentioned, can you find a Tanakh within them?
You tried to pass looking at a photo as the anthropological historical method, and that is a lie, bro. All right, I told y'all that I can get down and dirty on my page, and that's just what I'm gonna do.
There are people that consist of Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketayim, backed up by a Talmud, which consists of Mishnah and Gemara. Can you find that amongst these people pre-colonialization? No.
No, and you don't need to because the Jews in that particular area was not practicing rabbinical Judaism pre-colonialism, and that is a fact. And none of the Jews in the historical records has stated that they practice rabbinical Judaism. Okay, rabbinical Judaism, as y'all stated earlier, was started around the 3rd or the 4th century. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying the Jews was in Africa in the 2nd century BC, bro. We have evidence of that. You can go look at the epithets of Volubilis in Morocco, in northern Africa. You understand what I'm saying? So what you're saying doesn't prove anything. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you guys cut me off, because you know that I got that fire. I set you guys up so I can get you guys on record talking stupid stuff so we can come back over here and take what you say home and dissect the truth so the truth can be heard.
You can't find that anywhere. And then some of you guys like to say things like, well, some of them are Israelites. Then if some of them were Israelites, this would be a very distinct group within the Akan people. And you would easily be able to identify them because their culture will be explicit.
They're not a very distinct people. All you got to do is look at the Efik people, the Ife, okay? And notice and study the history of Calabar and notice the Jews of Calabar and understand that the Ife are the people of Calabar and the Jews of Calabar. But you saying that these things, what you're saying is just not real, brother, and it's not historical. You can't possibly know African history saying these idiotic things, my brother. Because it's funny that when you ask these people these questions, they'll tell you no, but I'll go back to these people and challenge them to let them know that I know what they're talking about, and they tell me something totally different. So I would like for you to get these people that are telling you these things to my face and watch me ask them these questions, and you're going to get a different response. Obviously, you're not asking the right questions.
Explicitly different. So you were in that chat. You were in that chat looking for it. You was looking for some smoke because I'm reading it right here, Mark.
Oh yeah, I am looking for the smoke, but
okay.
You can't read.
And you hold on, I want to talk about something that you provided on. I'm gonna let you talk for a moment. Go ahead.
You can't read into why I said what I said. I can only tell you.
See how they cut me off?
Why I said what I said.
Hold on a second. Let me jump in for
See that? 3 times that I got a chance to speak, and 3 times they cut me off. How are you going to know what I'm going to say if you're going to cut me off? How can you say that I'm wrong and you never let me say what I'm going to say? Okay, this is why you can't see. You keep saying you're going to debunk. No, you're not debunking. You're disrespecting yourself. Okay, that's what you're doing. Okay, you guys are silly, man.
before y'all do what y'all gonna do. And Craig, cut it out in the chat, man. Cut it out before people take it serious. All right. So listen, anybody who's watching or listening, we got 250 people watching, 250,000 people watching. And who wants to jump on and let's get the smoking? Obviously, Yasha is not going to debate because his position is that that's his faith. And we don't, me and Chris, we too smart to debate people who just believe. We're dealing with historical, archaeological.
Yeah, but I deal with faith because whether I am an Israelite naturally or not, I agree with this faith. My blackness, my Afro-Asiaticness agrees with this faith. Now, being that I practice this faith along the way is when I learned the things that I have learned. And I have learned that the African Americans are the descendants of the children of Israel. That's what I have learned. I have learned that Jews did enter into Western Africa, North, South, and the East, okay? And that black people are running around Africa as well as the America with Jewish blood in them, meaning that they are the children of Israel. And that's my stance.
Anthropological, linguistics, and genetics. That's what we're dealing with. Not saying there's not internal evidence in the Bible. There's a kernel of truth here and there.
Well, we're going to see if you really do these things. And I just proved that you didn't. And you don't.
Not denying that. But what I want to do is, anybody wants to smoke, now is your time. All y'all who talk crap about Chris, or talk crap about me, jump on. But what do you want to say, Yasha? Don't say something.
Even though that is my faith, that doesn't mean that I don't believe that black people were the original Jews of Western Africa. Okay, it doesn't believe.
Hold on. That's confusing. Say that again. I'm confused.
Yeah, very confusing.
I don't believe that
I said that just because I'm speaking on my faith.
You said the first people in West Africa. The first.
It does not listen. I didn't say the first. I said that. Listen to what I'm saying carefully.
All right.
Because I practice my faith, all right, it does not mean that I do not believe that the original Israelite people did not make their way as black people into Western Africa.
All right, you know what, Chris? This is what we're going to do.
Hold on real quick. Hey, Garfield. Hold on, Garfield. Gustavo, a correction. That was the Asante that may wear the leprechaun. He's correct on that. The Akan people, I wanted Asante correction. Go ahead.
The Asante is Akan people.
That's right.
True. There's different sects of them.
Hold on, Yasha. No. Hold on, we're gonna deal with some fire right now. How did the Israelites end up in West Africa? Can you break that down for us?
Sure.
From Genesis to Revelation. Break it down. Go ahead.
Migrations.
From where? From where? Where did they migrate from?
From Rome, from Greece, from Assyria, from Israel.
So they migrated from Assyria to where?
To East Africa, North Africa, South Africa, East Africa, West Africa. I want to say something real quick though with the thing about the picture. If Israel, according to the documentation, whether you deem it as fake or not, that's all we have is the documentation. If Israel collapsed in 70 AD, and they collapsed for the reason of adopting the nations around them's paganisms, cultures, and traditions, all right? And they collapsed in 70 AD. I am telling you, there is nothing about a photo taken after the days of Kodak that can tell you anything that could connect you to a people of that magnitude of 2,000-3,000 years ago.
I'm confused. What do you mean Israel collapsed in 70 AD?
I'm saying that
because
Israel
there was still revolt. There was but it did not collapse.
But
they were still revolting as early.
Okay. Now you talk about, right, the Bar Kokhba revolt. Notice how he said that they were still revolting when I brought him up. When I noticed that, I asked about Rome. Matter of fact, I'm going to rewind this a tad, just a tad. That's for 109.6. Let's go back to, no, that's a little far back. (101). 105. We'll just have to listen to it again. But he talked about these revolts. Now, and to give us a chance to listen to this. Now, he asked me how did they get in there, and from where, and how, and where did they go? And I gave him an answer, and a very correct answer. They did not disprove it. Excuse me. They did not disprove it. Okay? And then I gave an example of by way of Rome. Okay? And you see how they begin to start to get unraveled. They get to cutting me off. And Chris mentioned something stupid about the revolts. Okay. Now, if how they got in there by way of Rome, I'm saying that they came in there by way of Rome in 70 AD. And none of these revolts that he have talking about between Israel and Rome, he have no evidence of any revolts occurring between prior to 66 and 70 AD. He says that my sources come from Flavius Josephus, but I am a history major. And I've studied at Knoxville College in Tennessee, at Wayne State University in Detroit, and at Wayne County Community College here in Detroit, and I'm like one actual class away from getting my degree, my bachelor's degree. Okay, and I majored in history because I wanted to be a history teacher and keep studying to become a history professor. So I am very equipped with history. So I have studied history and have several historical accounts of a war that had taken place in 70 AD. Okay, in 66 and 70 AD. And these revolts that Chris are talking about are the Bar Kokhba revolt and the Battle of Kitos, which are all part of the Roman Jewish wars. And I'm saying that in these wars, the Bar Kokhba revolt and the War of Kitos, these didn't even take place in Rome. They took place in Africa. Jews in Africa. And he did not want me to say that, and this is the reason why they're going to cut me off. On their way to Africa, you asking me about how they get there. That's why they want to cut me off, because that is very important. Since he brought up these revolts, you understand what I'm saying? It is that trade route That route of the revolts is how they entered into Africa. And he want to talk about the Sahara trade routes. Well, there is Sahara trade routes in which the Berbers know how to get all the way through the Sahara Desert. They have trade routes, caravan routes, all the way throughout the entire Sahara Desert. And they know how to navigate it, my brother, from north to south. To sub-Sahara to the top of Africa, North Africa. So these guys are just talking crazy and do not know history and they're crazy. They have this hatred, this inherent hatred for truth, this hatred for black advancement, this hatred for history, and they're trying to rewrite history, and they're trying to rewrite the narrative that black people ain't shit and will never ever be shit.
Linguistics and genetics. That's what we're dealing with. Not saying there's not internal evidence in the Bible. There's a kernel of truth here and there. I'm not denying that. But what I want to do is, anybody wants to smoke, now's your time. All y'all who talk crap about Chris, or talk crap about me, jump on. But what do you want to say, Yasha? Don't say something.
Even though that is my faith, that doesn't mean that I don't believe that black people were the original Jews of Western Africa. Okay? It doesn't believe.
Hold on. That's confusing. Say that again. I'm confused.
Yeah, very confusing. I said that just because I'm speaking on my faith.
You said the first people in West Africa. The first
does not listen. I didn't say the first. I said that listen to what I'm saying carefully.
All right.
Because I practice my faith, all right, it does not mean that I do not believe that the original Israelite people did not make their way as black people into Western Africa.
All right, you know what, Chris? This is what we're going to do.
Hold on real quick. Hey, Garfield. Hold on, Garfield. Gustavo, a correction. That was the Asante that may wear the leprechaun. He's correct on that. The Akan people. Yeah, I wanted Asante correction. Go ahead.
The Asante is Akan people.
Yeah, true. There's different sects of them.
Hold on, Yasha. No. Hold on, we're going to deal with some fire right now. How did the Israelites end up in West Africa? Can you break that down for us? From Genesis to Revelation. Break it down. Go ahead.
Well,
migrations.
Yeah, migrations, but you must understand, and you know this. Why would you ask me from Genesis to Revelation and you know I don't believe in the New Testament? See, this is the disingenuous bull crap that these guys pull over and over and over again. He's a liar. Okay? He knows that I don't deal with the New Testament. But he's going to act, he want me to be stupid enough to answer a question. But I'm going to answer it because since the Romans created the time signature, I know what they're trying to do. Let's deal with this.
From where? Where did they migrate from?
From Rome, from Greece, from Assyria,
Babylon,
from Israel.
They migrated from Assyria to where?
To East Africa, North Africa, South Africa, East Africa, West Africa. I want to say something real quick though with the thing about the picture. If Israel, according to the documentation, whether you deem it as fake or not, that's all we have is the documentation. If Israel collapsed in 70 AD, and they collapsed for the reason of adopting the nations around them's paganisms, cultures, and traditions, all right? And they collapsed in 70 AD. I am telling you, there is nothing about a photo taken after the days of Kodak that can tell you anything that could connect you to a people of that magnitude of 2,000-3,000 years ago.
I'm confused. What do you mean Israel collapsed in 70 AD?
I'm saying that
because there was still revolts. But it did not collapse. But they were still revolting as early as they were still revolting as early as the first century CE. Right. I mean AD.
No,
so it didn't collapse.
No, they were not. Israel collapsed and folded as a nation and as a community in 70 A.D. And uh, and in Flavius Josephus, which is a Jewish account, okay, he said that uh, the survivors of the Jews were all packed up in ships and dispersed on the other side of the Nile River. And this is what Flavius Josephus has said. Okay, that's his account. Okay, there is Roman account of the of Rome and Israel, and there is no Roman records of Jewish revolts inside of Israel going into the first century. What you're talking about in the first century is the Bar Kokhba revolt, and that happened as they were migrating on their path into Africa. The Bar Kokhba revolt happened in North Africa as well as the Battle of Quitos. So you have nothing to stand on, Chris Harris.
You're talking find that in the Josephus like the. Are you talking about like the?
You won't find that in the Josephus account.
See, you cut me off.
You don't find any other
See how they cut me off?
historian talking about 70 AD.
I'm trying to talk about those battles. Are you talking about like the Battle of Quitos? And you're
Brother,
talking
hold on,
about,
no. We're not gonna move the pendulum.
No, brother, you talking about the damn wars and the revolts that had taken place in the first century, and I'm trying to name them for you, brother. I'm not moving nothing. What I'm trying to do is hold you to what you said because I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's important because these wars took place not on the grounds of Rome or on the soils of Israel, but on the soils of North Africa. Jews in North Africa. The Bar Kokhba revolt in the War of Quitos, dog. But they keep cutting me off. You see? And they do that on purpose so you can't say nothing. All right?
What we're gonna do is stay right there on what you just said. I'm not in agreement. Let me make this clear to the audience. I'm not in agreement with anything that you say.
And you shouldn't be, and you don't have to be, but that don't make you correct. This said 97,000 taken to Cyrene. The number of those that were carried captive during the whole war were collected to be 97,000, as though and was the number of those that perished during the whole siege, 1,100,000. Okay, the greater part of whom were indeed of the same nation, with the citizens of Jerusalem. Okay, they talk about the Battle of Quitos, and they talking about the Bar Kokhba revolt right there in Cyrensia in North Africa. This is what I'm talking about. These are the clips. Okay, and he's saying that he looked and he didn't see these things, but you're not reading your own sources, brother. And I said this. You don't read your own sources, brother. But not belonging to the city itself. He said that they were the same, but not belonging to the city of itself, and it's a reason for that. For they were come up from all the country to the feast of unleavened bread. So these were Jews that were already in Africa, that were running back and forth from Israel to Africa, and they will go to Africa for the feast of unleavened bread. This is why they were the same as that nation, with the citizens of Jerusalem, but not belonging to the city. You see, that's the only thing that can mean, my nigga, and this took place in Cyrensia, and this was during the time of the Bar Kokhba revolt, which is evidence that Jews fled into Africa, my brother. These are evidence of African Jews, people. My man sound real stupid and crazy.
Is on the screen.
We're talking about these battles that you're talking about.
No. You said 70 AD. That's incorrect. That's not what you said.
No, I said that they started to leave into Africa at 70 AD. And notice that in the first century here, they are already into Africa because they left on their way there in 70 AD. So at the first century, they are already Jews in North Africa, dog. This is what happened. See, it happened as clearly as that.
You said 70 AD. Okay, 70 AD, Israel, Judea. Excuse me, let me finish talking here, because what you're doing is you're adding confusion. You said in 70.
Now you see that he said I'm adding confusion. How? I ain't getting a chance to say nothing. I'm not getting a chance to say nothing, but he cut me off in the middle of what I was fixing to say about the wars, and he just refused to let me say it because he know that I am about to say these things right here, okay? And he know that I'm about to use his evidence against him. Like I mean, his evidence doesn't support nothing that he got to say.
AD, Israel collapsed, okay? All right, that's only found in a Josephus account. That's not found anywhere else about what happened in Judea during the Roman siege. All right, and it's actually Jerusalem. It don't say anything about it.
But what I'm trying to tell you is that you saying that this only happened in the Josephus account. So where are you getting your information from about what happened during the Roman Jewish wars, brother? Where is you getting this information from? Okay? Because I showed a succession from what happened in 70 AD, which gave birth to these revolts that you're talking about as the Jews left Israel on their way to Africa and through Africa, homie. And that's why you didn't want me to expound upon these revolts, my friend, that you brought up.
Israel. Only Josephus says that. And he doesn't say Israel. He says Jerusalem. So you're adding Israel into it to try to show that Israel.
This is like this guy said, I'm not saying, Flavius Josephus didn't say Michigan. He said Detroit. Detroit is Michigan, fucking fool. That's like saying, he didn't say Mount Carmel. He said the Mountains of Olives. But the Mountain of Olives is a Mount Carmel, fool. This is silly.
Israelites ran into Africa. It's just not true. That is a black Hebrew Israelite teaching that I hope, I pray, I'm sending Garfield all my energy that he marries guerrilla.
You're not hoping and praying hard enough because you got an Israelite right in front of your face, and whatever you hoping and praying you want to do, you're going to fail miserably at it. You're not even going to get a chance to even pull it off, let alone fail at it. You're not even going to get a chance to even start to pull it off.
We gonna kill it right now. You do not hope and pray this. You going to West Africa? You do not hope and pray this because
baby, come in with the smoke today.
You won't let me speak. You do not hope this. Show me how. You do not hope this. Africa. It's right here. This is Sahara Desert. Show me how they went in at one time period. Let's go. It's right here on the screen. How did they get into West Africa? This is the Sahara Desert, and this is where Africa, where they were. They were taken to Cyrene right here. It's right here. I got the primary right here. They were taken to Cyrene. You got Israelites committing suicide. You got the Masada suicide. You got the sources right here. You got the Roman province of Judea. You got 97,000 taken to Cyrene. I want you to tell me how.
Right. Well, since you already got that, there were several migrations, and they didn't all come at one time on one day. They came in flurries, okay, and they came at different times and taking on different routes, okay. There were some that came in through the north, came in through Egypt, and there were others who came in through Yemen, my friend, into Ethiopia and into the core of Africa, brother, going to the south, to the north, to the east, and the west of Africa, my friend.
These multiple people get in, and it says right here, 1.1 million died. That's what it said. So now I want you to tell us, how did you get into West Africa?
Well, you asked me to tell you. You didn't tell me to prove it to you with facts and sources, and I'm going to do just that.
Let's go. I want to see this. How? Through migrations. Again, through migration. This is not belief now. You got to prove this. Let's go.
Now
They got in there through migrations at different periods. Some would,
Where? This is the.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you if you cut me off. If you cut me off again, if you cut me off, I'm going to shut all the way up, and you can't get the information. And you won't get the information. You won't get the information because you shut me off disrespectfully. That's what we're going to have. All right.
Okay, go ahead. Let's go.
All right. Now, you have, like the Lemba, for instance. The Lemba tell their story of how they made it from the Levant all the way down through the Arabians, all right? All the way through Yemen. Then from Yemen, they cut through Ethiopia, and from Ethiopia, they cut through to Zimbabwe, okay? Many of them stayed in Zimbabwe. Others made their way all the way up to the Congo, my brother. That's how they got in it. That's one route that they got through there. Many of those that came from the Congo, according to the documents, stated that these people were the people that were fleeing from the Spanish Inquisition. Now, the documents does not say how they got there, but the documents does say that they're there. And what we have to deal with is how and why are the documents saying that they are there.
All right, first of all, the Lemba.
Now, ain't that silly? This nigga saying, and these are historical facts and realities. Now, do y'all see this silly shit? That's silly. That's just silly. You dig? That's very, very ignorant. This nigga is expressing his open ignorance to the public and have not disproved anything I said yet. Yet, to this day, they haven't disproved anything I said yet.
Are converts. They have nothing. They are a Bantu people, and they predate Abraham. They have nothing to do with Abraham. And there's a.
Well, he said that they were a Bantu people that predate Abraham, but how can that be when the Bantu people was not heard of before 1865? Okay? We just showed you the evidence earlier in the damn program. William Bleek, okay? William Bleek is the European. And I'm telling you, it is a fact that William Bleek was the very first person to ever call these people Bantu. And you're saying that they go all the way back before Abraham. Where are you getting this false information, brother? I'm telling you that William Bleek was the first man whom scholars and archaeologists and anthropologists say, and historians say, they coined the term Bantu, brother. That term did not go all the way back to Abraham, brother. So therefore, those people could not go back to Abraham because William Bleek and McCallaghan, if I think that's his name, these people went and named these term Bantu and Pygmies to all of the people in Africa, brother. And people who are genetically different, okay? That's what they had done. All right? But you're lying and saying that Bantus go back before Abraham, and that's a lie. The word Bantu itself don't go back before 1865 in designation to a language or a people. Because the Bantu language is one with the Swahili language, man. Okay? The Bantu language, there is no such thing as the Bantu language. Each one of those people had their own dialect and rendition of a language that came actually from the Zulus. Okay? So you need to just stop it, man. We got evidence that the archaeologists and the anthropologists before 1865 didn't even know who these people were. And I bear witness today that these people do not know who these people are. They still don't know. And they cannot be Bantus if William Bleek created this term in 1865. Chris, you're a liar.
Matter of fact, they were also in a place called Yemen. and they begin to mix with those people over there. So yes, they do come.
Now you see what he's doing? I just said that they come from Yemen. I said that they came from the Levant into Arabia, down through Yemen, and now he's agreeing with me. Now, do you see how this nigga shoot himself in the foot? I don't let niggas get away with shooting themselves in the foot. I just let you go ahead and record it so I could take you back home and show the people how I just really just destroyed you people and made you beat your own self up. How can I be not telling the truth when you're saying the exact same things that I'm saying? Okay? You can't beat me so you join me tactic, and then I still lose the conversation. Man, that's foolishness and biasness and high ignorance. Because you niggas can't fuck with me, son.
From over there, but they've always been who they are. They are a Bantu people. Stop. Two,
Okay,
where's
now,
their ancient scroll? Hold on, ain't no okay now. Let me finish talking. Okay, two, can you back that up with showing us? Okay, so hold on, let me finish.
Right.
Let me finish.
Okay, I will, brother, but be respectful, dude.
I am being respectful. You're the one cutting in.
You're not.
Have some discipline, Kohen.
Motherfucker, this the first time I cut you off, brother, and you tell me to have some discipline. You niggas done cut me off like 5 times, bro. And a bunch of multiple times in which I had to tell y'all that I stopped counting, bro. You niggas garbage, man. You boys are trash, and I mop you boys up every time. I'm showing y'all why these people do what they do. Okay?
So like I said, can you back the Lemba up by showing us, see, there you go again. Can you back that claim up by showing us an ancient scroll which consists of Aramaic writings, because the Israelites or the Jews of the Bible, whoever these people are, they always carried their text with them. Can you show us a Tanakh which can...
You can say that they always carried their text with them. You understand? You can say that, but you can't prove that, brother. You need to, before you hold me to anything, you need to prove what you say. And you don't do that, my friend. You don't prove nothing you say. You don't come to it with a source. You never come with anything to lead us to where we can find what you're saying, because they're all lies, man. You don't have no evidence that the Jews carried the Torah everywhere they went, because we have you people on record saying that the Jews didn't even exist. Crazy, brother. You niggas is ridiculous.
Consists of Torah, Nevi'im, Kethaim, backed up with a Talmud, which consisted of Mishnah and Gemara. Can you show us any of those things? Can you show us their...
I shouldn't have to when you started off the show with the Talmud saying that these people ran into Africa. You saying that you said it, and then you said that you was going to disprove it, and you never did. But you did sit up there and prove that the Jews went into Africa in the Babylonian Talmud. You niggas is silly, man. You niggas silly.
Tradition is, excuse me, can you show us their tradition? You cannot. So it's based on belief, right?
I can show you their traditions, but I can't show you a Torah. And there's reasons why I can't show you a Torah. And so showing you a Torah is not the telltale proof that whether these people were existent in Israel or not. Now, you say that these people are Bantu.
Especially when the dominant Christians and Muslims banned their Torahs and burnt them. Stop it, bro. If they carried it with them and they don't have them, it's a reason why they don't have them. Because they were banned by the Muslim caliphate and the Catholic monarchies, brother. You're silly, and this is documented. Man, you're silly, man.
These Lembas say that they are Bantu, all right? But the Lembas say the truth of the matter is that there really is no such people as a Bantu people. I forget the white man's name who created that that particular moniker to put over them. But
William
the European gave all those people that name, as well as pygmies and all of the other designated names that was given to these people, including the Zulus. None of these people were called by these names. That's a fact. Number two, you say that these people are not Jews, but
Before 1865, there was no such thing as Bantu or Zulu as a designation of a people or a language, and that is a fact. Okay? So that shit don't go back before Abraham. That's a fucking lie. And you don't have no archaeological evidence, and you certainly don't have no genetic evidence, because Razib Khan said that they have little to no genetic evidence of Africa because of the tropical regions. All right. So you guys just need to just stop the fucking lies, man. The anti-God, anti-black progression movement, the anti-Israel movement. This shit is really silly, man. All right.
they say that they are. And they say that they are through their oral traditions, and the geneticist says so as well. So I don't know what part of this you're not getting, brother.
Hold on a second. Biblical DNA, come on in and clear up that DNA and all that stuff with the Lemba. Come on in, brother. Open up your mic. Biblical DNA, clear it up. Clear it up real quick.
Man, I'm here. I was eating, but I'm gonna go ahead and open up the MacBook. So you had it earlier. Do you want to get that up, Brother Garfield? The Lemba origins revisited. Tracing
Go ahead. Let's talk about it. I don't think Yasha has seen that, because if he did, he's a brother that's kind of honest, so he don't repeat fake stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's new information comes up every day.
Yeah, Yasha. There's new information. Go ahead, talk about it, biblical DNA. Talk about it.
All right. So the Lemba carry an extended Cohen module haplotype of haplogroup J, which traces back to the J page 58, which the Cohenine carry. Is anybody y'all targeting that?
You said that they carry the J. Cohen marker.
Yeah, it's an extended. It's called the extended Cohen module haplotype.
Yeah, that's the J2. Is that the J2 or the J1?
It's the J1 page 58, but it's an extended version of that. It's like a different version of it. Because we can't sit there and say they're all, the same people. They definitely do have like an Arabic ancestry.
Okay, we can't say that they're all the same people. We can't say that all of the Jews are the same people, because when he talk about that this is the extended J1, but what about the J2 Jews? That's just one study, okay? What about all of the different B branches that are enclaved inside of the haplogroups of both the Sephardic and the Ashkenazi Jews, brother? You failed to talk about that part, see? That's because you don't understand genetics. And I'm quite sure that your sources do not mean what you're trying to get them to mean, and I'm going to explain that later too as well.
A Levant, Levantine, or Saudi Arabia ancestry.
Correct.
So this is how they would get those markers. This is how they would get those markers within them.
Would we be safe to say that they have Semitic ancestry in them?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
Yeah, according to the studies, they do.
Now, do you know that the
Now, this guy just said, according to the studies, that they do. And they agree that they have Semitic ancestry in them. The Jews are Semitic, okay? And Esau and Jacob are twins. So their genetic groups are the same. And the Jews of Teman are the Jews of the Teman in the Bible, and you can look in the lineage of Esau and see Teman is the grandson of Esau or Edom, and that the people in Teman, modern day Yemen, are the original Edomites who have the identical bloodline as Jacob. Okay, so these guys are just really fucking disingenuous. All right, here we go.
Amharic people were the original Arabians, and the Amharic people are the same Tigrian people that speak Amharic all throughout Ethiopia today, meaning that those people are Arabic people.
What's the source for that? What's the source for that? What's the source for that?
Arab meaning that they're mixed people.
Okay, fine. What's the source for that?
I don't have a source right now because we're just dialoguing. Now, if I don't walk around with sources all aboard me. But if you just want to, we can just go Google stuff up.
No, I don't Google shit.
Okay, we can just Google it up. You have to. Or go to the library.
No, I don't have to do that because when you Google something,
get that info, brother.
The problem that you're having with Google is you're not able to trace all the references and bibliographies on the spot. That's a problem.
Well, that's not the problem with Google. You don't need to do all of that. All you need to do is come up with the facts, okay? I mean, because you should have done your homework on the subject, my friend, before you came there. See, you the type of guy that comes to a debate knowing nothing on the subject and then want to do research on the subject right there on the spot and then try to debunk people. It don't work like that, brother. You should already know before you open your mouth in the debate, brother. Okay, and if I go to Google and Google up the facts, if they are the facts, my brother, they are the facts. My brother, you shouldn't have to look at the sources for the goddamn facts, brother, if you knew the facts. My brother, what it is that you don't know the facts, so you want to dig off into the sources, you know what I'm saying? And you want to try to debunk the sources, my brother, because you don't know the facts. Brother, debunking the sources, brother, is ignorant, brother. You cannot, my brother, accuse people with credible sources, my friend, as an appeal to authority, brother. And neither can your ignorance debunk the expertise of the professionals, my brother. Stop it. You can't fool me, man. You can fool somebody else, but you can't fool me.
Proper historical method, and that's how you cite sources properly.
But you don't have no methods, man. You have not shown one piece of methodology in this discourse to this day, brother. And when I'm going to give you a source, when we get to the DNA aspect, all this shit about the methodology you talking is going to get thrown out the fucking window. We've been through this before, Chris Harris.
Ends up happening is you could be reading commentary and don't even know it, which a lot of you guys are presenting when you keep using this oral tradition. Scientifically, hold on real quick. See, I notice whenever I'm talking and I'm being very direct with you, you start cutting in. Versus I'm letting both of you all talk. Now, the problem that you're going to continue to have is that when you look at the Lemba's DNA markers, yes, you do see Semitic traces of them in there, but that is a
screen share.
Bro.
Excuse me.
Let me say sorry about that.
What do you want over here?
Okay. One more time. But the the Lemba people are Bantu people. Scientifically, they are Bantu people. They trace directly to the Bantu people. So you can't get around that.
Well, I just got around that, and I just got around that when I told you the reality. And there is no scientific Bantu people. There's only a documented linguistic people. So therefore, you can't go around here designating every black person as a Bantu. You can only designate the language that the people speak as Bantu, my friend. And this is a fact. We have the documentation, my brother, telling you clearly that they don't know the designation of the people and never did. You're an idiot, man.
They were Bantu people first. They mixed with those people over there in Yemen in this place called Sana'a.
They were Bantu people first, and then they mixed with the people over in Sanaa. So you mean to tell me they mixed with the people over in Sanaa after 1865? Because prior to 1865, didn't no Bantus exist, brother. You're lying.
So this is where the admixture began.
It had based on you, it would have had to have happened after 1865 because prior to 1865, Bantus didn't exist in the world. There were no such people called Bantus, brother. No distinguished people called Bantus, brother. Just like I'm telling you, there's no people called people. You dig what I'm saying? All of the people are called people, and that's not designated to one specific group. And that's the same way that it works in the Zulu language.
If you read Amanda Sperling's work, she does a great job at identifying that genetically.
And is there a way I can share my screen to show where it says they
you should post some of
if
those
you go
work.
to the conclusion of the Lemba Origins Revisited, it says this finding, together with the lack of matches of holotypes found in the combined Lemba-Rimba group with Jewish populations, suggests that the haplogroup J, Y chromosomes in the Lemba-Rimba are not closely associated with Jewish ancestry. Rather, this study suggests a stronger link with Middle Eastern populations.
What that is a study. It is an observation, okay? And you people like to talk science, but you really don't understand science. You know, that doesn't prove anything, okay? And that's just a fact. That is a scientific fact that doesn't prove anything. Okay, because science doesn't deal with proof. Science deals with data, collecting data. You dig what I'm saying? It deals with the collecting of evidence and observation, and that's it, brother. And evidence and observation doesn't prove anything, brother. Okay, it's when that evidence become tested, and I'm telling you that evidence is not tested, brother. It's just studied. Okay, so it doesn't prove any fucking thing, and you guys are silly. You can look up anywhere on the web, or just Google "Does science prove anything?" and you'll get some of the world's greatest scientists telling you that science doesn't prove anything. And I'll post some of the proofs of that as well.
That's how they began to mix, because the Bantu people began to migrate. Yasha?
See, yeah, you said that the Bantu people migrated and mixed, but then you turn around and say they didn't mix because they lived separate, separate lives and homogeneous lives. You know what I'm saying? Where they didn't mix in secluded and isolated lives, and they didn't mix with nobody. But now you just said they mixed. This shit is fucking crazy.
What you're doing, man, is playing this game as if though geneticists agree, and they don't, brother. The geneticists argue, and there are geneticists, my friend, that says that the Lemba are Jews, and then there's those that don't. So now we're stuck right there.
Oh, no, we're not.
Yes, we are, brother.
No, we're not. Can you tell us one of the geneticists that say that they are Jews?
We are.
Can you show us who they are?
Well, yes, Lazarus, for one.
Well, I'm not going to show you right then and there because I told you I didn't come with my evidence. But when I get back home, I got the evidence, brother. All right? And a much more recent study than what you have. Because the geneticists go back and forth arguing over and over again. Because what really it is, there's a group of geneticists who are trying to prove it a lie. And there's another group of geneticists trying to prove it the truth. This is what you call the criterions of falsifiability, my friend. And science couldn't exist without it. So stop the fucking lies. For every study that says no, there must be a study saying go. That's called the criterion of falsifiability. So you can never fool me. Any evidence that you have that says no, trust me, there is evidence that says go, my friend. And my people need to always know that. So don't ever let somebody tell you that a scientific study proves anything, because it does not.
Lazarus? Yeah. Okay, where's the anthropological research to show that? Yeah. Can you give us that study?
Okay, well, let me just go get some of this research, then.
Okay, good. And while you're going to get some of that research, let me explain to you all something. Jew is not, let me explain something to everybody. Jew is a proselytizing faith. First of all, it's a proselytizing faith. So what they do is they identify different people groups by their rituals and rites. So then they would begin to...
But that's not true, because Jews is a non-proselytizing faith. You don't see Jews nowhere in America out here on television with television shows trying to convert people. You don't see Jews nowhere out here on street corners trying to convert people. You understand what I'm saying? All of the mess. You don't see Jews making Jewish music like you do to people in gospel music and in Islam trying to convert people. You don't see Jews out here making tracks and propaganda trying to convert people. This is a lie. Judaism has never been a proselytizing religion. Chris Harris just full of all lies. It's called Gish Gallop.
To say that these are Jews. Once you're bathed in halakha or a bathing ritual or a circumcision ritual, you become a Jew. But prior to that, the Bantu are in fact, the Lemba are in fact a Bantu people, and you can't take that away from them. They were Bantu people first. Before
they were a Bantu speaking people first, but they could not have been a Bantu speaking people before they were Yemenites, okay? Or Arabians, or any of the people that they mixed with on their trek into Africa. And that is a fact. And they just could not have been, brother, because the term Bantu was created in 1965 by William Bleek, brother. You keep trying to make it though this term go back to the Neolithic age, and that's a lie, brother. It's a lie. And I didn't check you on it, because if I check you on it, you would stop it. And I want to show the world how this man would sit up there and just keep preaching a lie and just keep preaching. If you don't check him on it and you don't stop him on it, he's going to just keep telling this lie. And I didn't. When he wouldn't let me go there, I just decided to just let these boys lie so I could go home, because I got the evidence. So I could go home and give the world the real truth. Plus, without this video, I already spanked them up, because I told them. Over here, now I'm proving it.
Gets adopted. Excuse me, let me finish talking. Ain't no so what? That mean they predate Abraham.
The Bantus don't predate Abraham, brother.
Abraham. So what's your date for Abraham?
No, what's my date for the Bantus is like the 1800s, brother.
1800 BCE, right?
Nah, CE, brother. There was no...
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. The Bantu people only go to 1800 CE? You just killed yourself. Yeah.
All you got to do is go back and say who designated the term Bantu, all right? And then you open this up right here, right? Okay. A note on the term Bantu is first used by William H. Bleek, African Studies. Okay. And again, this is the article I read about earlier, that clearly says right here that William Bleek was the father of Bantu philology, and that he was the first to use the term Bantu. Okay? It's clear. All throughout this article, it's clear that a long time ago that William Bleek was the first guy to coin this term in 1865. And these people are amazed at my knowledge and my intellect. I am the man. I'm telling you. They need to stop it. They just really need to stop it. We can see here clearly. Okay, I don't have to read this again. Here's the evidence. Here's the evidence right here. The very first paragraph, it says, It says, for him, the title of the father of Bantu philology, and it was he who was the first to use the term Bantu in 1865. Okay? He said, Bleek, it said, it talked about this guy who gave Bleek the idea for the Bantu, for Ba. Okay, this guy named Doak. And Doak states that Bleek had, however, dealt with this term as early as 1857. His MS entitled Zulu Legends, prepared at the time, but not published until 1952, contains the following statement, that the word Abantu, men, people, means par excellence individual of the Kafir race. So these people are called the Kafir people, and they're not called the Bantu people, particularly in opposition to the noun Balingo, okay, the Balangu, okay? And it appears, therefore, to be the least general term for the family of the people. I mean, the best general term for the family of people, of which the Kafir is known to be one of the most original, and therefore not the Bantu, but the Kafir people. These people were not called the Bantu, they were called the Kafir, my friend. But he rests everything on this term called Bantu, which did not exist before 1865. And not only was the Bantu the Kafir people, but it belonged to a whole nother body of people as well, as we'll continue to read here. Okay? And it said, it appears, therefore, to be the best general term for the family of languages, of which the Kafir is known to be one of the most original, and therefore, for the purposes of philology, most important members. There has not yet been suggested any really appropriate name for the great family of languages and nations, okay? So the word Kafir is not the really appropriate name, nor Bantu. But Kafir is more appropriate than Bantu, whom Chris saying is so. And the real name, the really name, okay, there has not yet been suggested any real appropriate name for the great family of languages and nations, nor any other came into general use. Beside, the word Bantu is common to almost all languages of this kindred, brother. Therefore, is, however, a publication earlier than 1962 by Bleek in which he uses the term Bantu. This is his catalog of the Library of Sir George Grey, where he sets up. Man, these guys don't know what they're talking about. I could just end this right now. This is crazy.
If you read Amanda Sperling's work, she does a great job at identifying that genetically.
And is there a way I can share my screen to show where it says so if you go to the conclusion of the Lemba Origins Revisited, it says this finding, together with the lack of matches of holotypes found in the combined Lemba-Rimba group with Jewish populations, suggests that the haplogroup J, Y chromosomes in the Lemba-Rimba are not closely associated with Jewish ancestry. Rather, this study suggests a stronger link with Middle Eastern populations.
Thank you. That's how they began to mix, because the Bantu people began to migrate. Yasha?
See, what you're doing, man, is playing this game as if though geneticists agree, and they don't, brother. The geneticists argue, and there are geneticists, my friend, that says that the Lemba are Jews, and then there's those that don't. So now we're stuck right there.
Oh, no, we're not.
Yes, we are, brother.
No, we're not.
We
Can you
are
tell us one of the
somewhat there.
geneticists that say that they are Jews?
We
Can
are.
you show us who they are?
Yeah, well, yes, Lazarus, for one.
Lazarus?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the anthropological research to show that?
Yeah.
Can you give us that study?
Okay, well, let me just go get some of this research, then.
Okay, good. And while you're going to get some of that research, let me explain to you all something. Jews is not, let me explain something to everybody. Jew is a proselytizing faith. First of all, it's a proselytizing faith. So what they do is they identify different people groups by their rituals and rites. So then they would begin to say that these are Jews. Once you're bathed in halakha or a bathing ritual or a circumcision ritual, you become a Jew. But prior to that, the Bantu are in fact, the Lemba are in fact a Bantu people, and you can't take that away from them. They were Bantu people first before they began to adopt it. Let me finish talking. Ain't no so what? That mean they predate Abraham.
The Bantus don't predate Abraham, brother.
Brother, so what's your date for Abraham?
No, what's my date for the Bantus is like the 1800s, brother.
1800 BCE, right?
No, CE, brother. There was no...
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. The Bantu people only go to 1800 CE? You just killed yourself.
Yeah, recently. The term Bantu is a very recently used...
No, dog. We know who the Bantu are. You playing semantics. Bantu people do not go to 1800 CE.
So what do you want me to get the evidence for, brother? Because
please. Show us the evidence on everything you just said.
Evidence for, brother? Do you want me to get the evidence for the Jewish marker, brother, or do you want me to get the evidence for the Bantu?
Get both. Right? Get both.
No, which one do you want me to get, brother?
Both.
Okay,
we got time.
Can you stop it right there, and instead of overwhelming me with
Yasha, in all fairness, bro, I'm gonna talk to you man to man, right? I'm not being disrespectful or anything, right? What happened is in 1999, right, when they first got the Lemba studies, they had a research done, right? Now, if you look at this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the screen. And I'm going to show this article that's showing the same thing, but it's clearer in this article. It's clearer. What your article is not showing, it's what happened is they did another study, bro. Michael Hammer and them did a whole other study from the University of Arizona, and it was that study looked for among the Lemba and Remba in the 2013 study. Let me just first, much attention has been given to the origins of the Lemba people since the year 2000, when a Y chromosome study by Neil Bradman and Mark Thomas of the UCL yielded results that indicated that the Lemba have Jewish ancestry, and in particular, a high incidence of the Cohen model haplotype. Genetic science has come a long way since then, and in the most recent study by Dr. H. Sodial, a geneticist from the Department of Health Sciences, using higher resolution and more genetic markers, the following results were found. Firstly, when the 6-marker Cohen model type was extended to 12 markers, it was found only in Jews and not in the Lemba. Let me repeat that. When they extended it to 12 markers, it was only found in Jews and not in the Lemba. The 6-marker model type found in the Lemba in the 2000 study is found in many non-Jewish populations in the Middle East. But the extended model haplotype is specific to Jewish coins at varying levels throughout the Jewish diaspora. The extended model haplotype was recently revealed by a team of geneticists led by Dr. Michael Hammer of the University of Lemba, and it was this that Sodial looked for among the Lemba and Remba in the 2013 study. So remember, the first study was around 1999. Now they have another study, which is 14 years later. Secondly, when other combined haplogroups among the South African Lemba and Zimbabwe Remba samples were analyzed at extended level, they were also found not to match with Jewish haplogroups. 3 extracts from the conclusion of the study are as follows. While it was not possible to trace unequivocally the origins of the non-African Y chromosomes of the Lemba and the Remba, this study does not support the earlier claims of their Jewish genetic heritage. Earlier claims. Overall, this study has shown that Y chromosomes typically linked with Jewish ancestry were not present in the Lemba. It seems likely that the Arab traders who are known to have established long-distance trade networks involving some thousands of kilometers along the western rim of the Indian Ocean from Safala in the south to the Red Sea in the north and beyond to the Hadramaut, India, and even China from 900 AD are more likely linked with the ancestry of the non-African founding males of the Lemba and the Remba. It is of interest to note that most of the Lemba tribal names are recognizable Arabic, and variations of them are still found in Yemen today. All right? Now, one more thing I want to say before y'all cut me off. I want to say this carefully. Remember when I had Tudor Parfit? Tudor Parfit is the one that discovered them and said that they were Jews, right? Remember, I had another guy on who lives in Zimbabwe, who was 3 generations in Zimbabwe, a white guy. He said the traditions that Tudor Parfit talks about is not in the culture. What happened is that's recent. He's saying that they were Muslim. He agrees with this evaluation. I didn't even talk to him about the DNA.
Now hold up there, hold up. Now that's bad because he's saying that there's other geneticists that disagree with Tudor Parfit, but then Tudor Parfit, but he's going to use Tudor Parfit against me to say that these people was white. But he just said that there's geneticists that disagree with him. Now what kind of silly garbage is this man playing with me?
He agrees with this. The Arabs came in around 900 AD and mixed with the people that were living in the land. And that's what the DNA confirms. All right? So to answer to Yasha, it's not a debate between geneticists. It's just that what happened is we have more markers.
There is a debate between the geneticists and there's a debate against the historians. I am a historian. You see me standing right there next to a historian, Runoko Rashidi, one of the greatest black historians that the world has ever seen, as well as his counterparts, that these people are lying and calling pseudo, but they have not proven anything that these men have said wrong. And he keep telling me what the historians say and what the geneticists say, and they don't say this. You know, he's saying that these people are lying and saying that these Lemba people have traces back to Yemen, but they don't speak Arabic. Okay? They don't even have Arabic in their DNA. The most recent ancestors that actually had Arab DNA were the Ethiopians, who were the Amharic and the Yamharic people. And they did not speak Arabic, brother. They spoke Himyaritic and Amharic, brother, which was the lingua franca of Arabia post prior to Islam. So that don't even match history, brother. Their story matches history, and their DNA matches their story.
And we're able to look at the DNA more widespread now instead of how limited it was in 1999. All of this is science evolving.
Well, geneticists do debate. Now, whether geneticists have debated this.
Now, this nigga saying, yeah. And for a minute, he said they didn't. Now, do you see the wish-wash these niggas? They just want to talk. They'll never be able to prove me. Can't none of them guys beat me.
Issue or not is a whole nother story. And this is a newer research. And who's to say tomorrow that they're not going to have a different research? Okay? Hold on, brother. Hold on, because yesterday they were Jews, today they're not. Okay? That shows you the flaw in science and genetic hookup right there. That is a flaw, brother. For 1 minute you to be Jewish and then the next minute you're not, that is crazy, brother. Now, as far as this Middle Eastern simulation...
because I believe his research said 2014, I believe, or 2010 or something like that. Well, I got evidence from 2016, and even more later evidence than that, saying by the geneticists and the people saying that they are Jews. So, being that, like I said, one day it'll be no, and the next day it'll be yeah. And the more recent evidence says yeah.
Again, the people in Ethiopia, those people that are the original people from Arabia, their story is that they came from Arabia. The language that they speak is the ancient Arabian language, not the Arabic today, my brother. The language that they speak connects them to Arabia. All right? Now, being that the language that they speak connect them to Arabia, those people are black and they are Semitic. The crazy part about it is the people that were in Arabia as well as the people in Ethiopia are genetically linked as Semitic people. And both of those people have claimed throughout history to be Israel. You have what's called the Yemenite Jews, my brother. The people in Yemen are genetically J1 markers, and they have to be because the original people that were originally in Yemen, the land of Tiaman, are the original Edomite people, which are the brothers of the Israelites who carry the same markers as the Israelites, brother. So these people can't tell you that again, by these people, there is.
I'm going to say that there's no genetic test on the planet that can test your religion. But this brother said that's not true, so I'm going to prove him wrong. He said that's not true. He said that's not true. All you got to do is look up Teman Edomite. Teman Edomite, okay? Let's look up this term, okay? Teman, Edom, okay? Teman was the name of an Edomite clan and of an eponym, according to the Bible. That's Genesis 36, 11 through 46. Let's take a look at that. And the sons of Eliphaz, these were the sons of Edom, okay? You see right there where it says Enan, and these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in the land of Seir. These are the names of Esau's son, Eliphaz, and Eliphaz the son of Ada, the wife of Esau, Ruel, the son of Basemath, the wife of Esau. 11. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. See, this Teman right here, this is telling you that Teman, going all the way down, it tell you the line of the Teman, okay? The Amalekites, okay? And they talk about the Nahathites, okay? The Shama, from Shama, and the Mizites, okay? And they talk about the Oholibama, okay? And they talk about all of these people. You go down to 15, and they say the firstborn of Esau, the chief of Teman, the chief of Omar, okay? The chief of Zepho, the chief of Kenaz, okay? So it is clear, as we can see going back to verse 9, that Teman is the descendant of Esau, which is the twin brother of Jacob. Okay? So we see again here, it say Teman was the name of the Edomite clan and of its eponym, according to the Bible. And we see that that's correct, and an ancient biblical town of Arabia, Petra. The term is also traditionally used in biblical Hebrew as the synonym of the direction south and was applied to being used as the Hebrew name Yemen, whose Arabic name is Yemen, due to its location in the southern end of Arabia, thus making Yemenite Jews being called Timanim, which means it's plural. Timan is short. Timanim means that the Jews were referred to as Timan, brother. And they were referred to as Edomites as well, thus making Yemenite Jews being called Tiaman in Hebrew. In the book of Genesis 36 and 15. Okay, the name Tiaman is referred to the son of Eliphaz. Eliphaz's oldest son, Job's friend Eliphaz, was a Tiamani. Job 2:1. So I don't get these guys. We can look up Timan again. You know, Timan, okay? Timan may refer to Timan, Tiaman, the Hebrew for Yemen, homeland of the Timani, or the Tiamani, the Yemenite Jews. So, in the Tanakh, Job's friend Eliphaz was a Tiamani. In the book of Genesis, Timan is the son of Eliphaz. And Esau's grandson, Tiaman, is Edom, an Edomite clan and an ancient biblical town in Arabia Petra. Then you got the Tiaman monofly, which is an American ultralight aircraft designed by structural engineer Bob Timan and produced by Timan Aircraft Incorporated. So these are all what Tiaman mean, and everyone except for this last definition applies and bear witness to the truth that I had stated. So let us get back over to the video.
They can tell you whether you are Jewish or not. What they can do is link you to the land that the Jews were in, my brother, and that is a fact. And one of you brothers just stated that. There is no test, and no test ever will tell you what your religion is or your faith is, all right? And the fact of the matter is that the people that were in Yemen are the people that are in Ethiopia, and those people in Ethiopia are linked to the Lemba, and all of those people say in their own history that they are Jews.
Hey, real quick, Garfield. My next question would be to both of these brothers: is what language do? Because you just said that the Lembas speak a Semitic language. You just stated that.
Yes.
What language do they speak?
And I didn't say the Lemba, I said the Yemen, the people in Yemen. That's what I said. And Ethiopia.
Okay, but what language? Okay, cool. What language do? That's fine.
The people in they speak a Bantu language. They speak a
Bantu language, so it's not Semitic, right?
Right. Today, yes.
What do you mean today?
But their genes are linked to Semitic genes, and you just
right, because they were mixing with Arabs, as Garfield just read.
So which means that they have Semitic blood.
Okay, so were they African peoples first, or were they Arabic peoples first?
They were Middle Eastern people first, and they made.
So who are the
Excuse me, I'm over here blazing, but the truth of the matter is this: they were Arabic people first, and they were Semitic people first. Okay, the term Africa was not heard of and very vaguely used throughout the annals of history. I'm talking about sparsely, almost little to none was this word used prior to the 1700s. So these guys are looking at history through modern biases. You know what I'm saying? And throwing away the context of the ancient. And this is why they end up in error every time.
Into Africa.
Who are the Bantu people?
The Bantu people are several different classes of people in Africa whom the Europeans named, brother.
Okay, cool. So, real quick. So, the Bantu peoples come out of Africa. Lemba peoples are African. They speak Bantu languages, and yet you keep saying that they're Semites. I'm having trouble following.
Because they don't come out of Africa, they go into Africa. I said they come out of the Levant into Arabia, out of Arabia into Yemen, in which you agreed with, brother, and out of Yemen into Ethiopia, and out of Ethiopia into Africa, north, south, east, and west. That's what I said, my friend. Get it right.
When your logic here.
because they did not originate in Zimbabwe, brother. They have a story and a genetic history that ties them to the Middle East.
No, their genetic history shows a migration into Yemen.
That they have Middle Eastern blood.
No, it does not. It shows a if it shows a migration into Yemen, then why don't they live in Yemen today, brother? It shows a migration out of Yemen into Africa, where they is today, brother. Your research methodology is flawed. Can you show me your research methodology and how you come to that conclusion? Because there is none. You're making up shit, brother.
Brother.
Yes, we know it's there. We know it's there because they intermingled with them.
Which means that on their track from the Middle East to Africa, they was mixing and mingling with those people, brother.
Okay, here I want to read this to him because he's not being honest here. Okay, so one more time. You just admitted that the Bantu people were African. Lemba people are Bantu speakers. They're not Semitic speakers.
And they always been African.
Oh my God! I don't have the energy. I'm sorry, God.
Always spoke Bantu.
You should
always been Bantu.
You should kill yourself.
Because you can't. I didn't. I killed you.
Killed yourself.
I killed you, brother. I said that these
if they're Bantu people and they speak a Bantu language,
these people
one more time, they don't have a Semitic language.
Africa, just like how we came from Africa and end up in America. Why we don't
does that
speak
mean we
European? Because we end up in
Hold on.
America.
Good question. Just like how we are Africans and we in America, yet we don't speak African languages. And I'm telling you that these people were Middle Eastern people, Semitic people, and they made their way into Africa, and now they speak African languages, okay? Just like how we are African people in America, and we speak American languages. Why we don't speak African? For the same reason that the Lemba or Semitic people are in Africa and speaking the African language is the same reason why they don't speak Semitic, because they're amalgamated with the people, idiot.
I'm asking you a question. Does that mean that we're European because we have European blood in us?
It means that you are American.
Okay, does it mean that we're European though because we have European blood in us? Yes or no?
Yes, it does. It means that you're European because you are descended from black. Listen, brother.
So you're a European. You're not an Israelite.
Listen, brother. It does mean that you're European because Europeans are black, brother. The original Europeans were Canaanites, brother.
Oh my.
Yeah, and if you got their blood in you, then you're them. Okay, now and that's regardless to whether I say they're black or white. If you got their blood in, if you got European blood in you, then you are European, my brother. And it's just as simple as that. Just like when you said Zion, when y'all said my brother Zion Waring had European blood in him and y'all called him a European, well, that applies for everybody, especially coming out of your mouth. Okay, and being the fact that the original Europeans were Canaanites, okay, Queen Europa was the daughter of a Canaanite queen and king, okay? And that's a fact. Okay, so the original Canaanites were, the original fucking Europeans were Canaanites, and it started with the Canaanite Queen Europa, okay? Which were Hamites, which were black people. Okay, so yes, we have European in our blood.
God.
Brother Garfield go away?
Queen Europa was a Canaanite, brother. And that's a fact. That's what the documents say. And she was a Hamite, brother. A black woman, brother, according to the documents.
But it's just unfortunate that your Lemba tribe, your tribe of Lemba is telling that they're Bantu people.
It's not unfortunate that they are Bantu. For me, it's unfortunate they are Bantu for you because you said Bantu go back to Abraham and it doesn't go back beyond 1856.
The Israelite people are mixed people, brother. So,
I mean 1865.
My question to you would be, what happened to their life? My question would be to you simply is this. My question to you next is this. How come they're not speaking the Hebrew language?
Because they have amalgamated into the Afro-Asiatic societies, brother.
Wait a minute. So they would forget their language because they mixed with societies?
Yes. Just like the reason why you don't speak African, brother, because you mixed into the American society. Same thing.
But they live separate from the rest of the Africans. They're exclusive. They live separate from everybody else.
If they live separate, then how did they mix with the other people, brother? You
sound crazy and you lying.
One more time. They speak a Bantu language.
Hold up.
You have to.
Hold up. Did y'all see that? You seen how they just muted me when I just caught that nigga in the lie? First he's saying that they didn't mix with people. You know, how they live, lives like homogeneously. You know what I'm saying? See how he just lied? All throughout the debate, he kept saying that they were mixed people. They were mixed people. Now he's saying that they're not a mixed people, that they're pure Bantu. You see this crazy shit? They try to catch me up like I'm going to switch the story and I'm going to keep saying the same story. I'm going to tell y'all something. The truth is like a lion, for real. You ain't got to defend it. Just let it loose and it'll defend itself.
Prove to us now that they spoke in an Aramaic language. Every time we start asking you these questions based on culture, you guys start saying, oh, they mixed in with everybody else. They forgot it.
No, I said they mixed in with everybody else. You say they mixed in with everybody else. The geneticists say they mixed in with everybody else. So they mixed in with everybody else. Me, you, and the geneticists and history and the culture prove that you just lied, double talking and lying. And that's just the simple facts, bro.
Everything that they had. But then you guys rely on their oral traditions, which came from the...
Neither is it my job to prove that they spoke Aramaic. You keep saying they spoke Aramaic. You keep saying that. You bring up Aramaic. You prove that they spoke that. I didn't say that, so it's not my job to prove that. See how these niggas lie about you, say what you said? These guys are just ridiculous, man.
Same colonizers and everybody else around them. I'm asking you for some cultural context and you're giving me an oral tradition. But yet we don't see a Tanakh, we don't see a Mishnah, we don't see anything tied in with these people.
But you're saying cultural context, you understand, but you shouldn't be looking for Israelite cultural context when these people tell you that they converted to Christianity. Why would you look for a cultural context when these people tell you they mixed into the society, a heathen society, and they joined a heathen religion? Why would you be looking for cultural context? All throughout Africa this is taking place, whether it was through Islam or Christianity, and I've said it for like the 5th time.
Until after they mix in with these so-called Arab people, as the geneticists keep on trying to tell you.
Hey, give me a second, guys. Can everybody mute their mics real quick, please? Everybody just mute their mics. Let me do a quick favor here. Because he talked about the Ethiopians, and this is in my book too, by the way, too. Because this is a source I actually use. All right? I want y'all to pay attention to this carefully right here. This is regarding the DNA samples for the Ethiopian Jews. DNA samples from Beta Israel, Falasha Jews, and Ethiopians were studied with the Y chromosome-specific DNA probe P49A to screen for TAC-I restriction polymorphisms and haplotypes. 2 haplotypes, V and 11, are the most widespread in Beta Israel and Ethiopians, representing about 70% of the total number of haplotypes in Ethiopia. Because the Jewish haplotypes are 7 and 8 are not represented in the Falasha population, we conclude that these people descended from ancient inhabitants of Ethiopia who converted to Judaism. So for those who are not hip, this is a book that was written, hold on, let me tell you how far ago this was. And this is nuts, because for years people are going around saying, hey, the Ethiopians were Jews. They're not even, and even though they found out, this is why they treat them the way they do, because they're not Jews. They're not. The Ethiopians are not. They're not Jews. Stop believing the hype. It's a book called DNA traditions, the genetic link to.
Well, you say they treat them the way they do because they're not Jews, but they have converted. Like you said, they have to convert. You said that they have to take, Chris said that they have to take the ritual vow. They have to go through the circumcision. They went through all of that. So now you cannot be saying that they're Jews. So you cannot use the lie that they're being mistreated because they're not Jews, brother. They are Jews through conversion, and they are Jews genetically, my brother. What you're saying did not prove that these people are not Jews because, again, like I keep telling you, you due to the criterions of falsifiability for every lie, it has to be falsified. For every theory, it has to be falsified. Meaning, for every evidence that you got to prove what you said, it has to be falsifiable. Meaning that there has to be evidence debunking what you say. And that's how science works, my friend. So you're not proving nothing, brother.
Ancient Hebrews by Yaakov Kleinman. Let me see if I could find out when the book was actually written. Hold on, let me find out the actual time when it was written. This was written in 2004. So this been around from 2004. They knew these Jews were not even Ethiopians. They knew that. Just for the record. So people going around talking about Ethiopians, let's go. If it falls information, jump on, get out my chat, and come on here and let's get some smoke on. Sick of you guys in the chat, like some damn females behind some, oh, let me just type this. Oh, I'm gonna type this. Oh, let me type. Stop typing. Come on and jump in. Y'all scared of Chris? Huh? Let's go.
Here's the thing, Garfield. Anytime these guys sit up there and say they can't find any cultural relativity amongst the people, they say that because they mixed in with the Hamites. But then when you read about the Lemba and their traditions presently, they live they live separated from everybody else. Their village is cut off from everybody else.
Now, you say they live separately from everybody else, but their genetic history says something different. Now, who is the liar? Okay? Who is the liar? And when I say that there's no cultural context, I never said it's because they're amalgamated with the people. Okay, I did mention them not amalgamating with the people, and I said, amalgamating with the people. I did mention them, and I said that was the reason why they don't speak Hebrew or Arabic or Amharic or any of those languages from Africa. That's what I said. I did not say anything about amalgamation, about them, why they don't have this cultural context that you're looking for. I said that they don't have cultural context because their culture was forbidden and banned by the Muslims and the Christians of 1492. That's what I said.
So they should have been able to retain their culture. Oh boy, lying.
They shouldn't have been able to retain their culture when you can look anywhere in history and see that both Isabella, Ferdinand, and Askia Muhammad, okay, banned the culture of the Jews. If Islam banned the culture with their life at stake, meaning that if you don't accept Islam and throw away those Judaisms, ban it. They burnt up all their books. They banned their culture. It made it illegal for them to come into the city. And if they came into the city, they had to come up under conversion. And other than that, they were banned. The whole idea or aspect of them being Jews was banned and forbidden. And this is why there's no cultural context. So when he keeps lying and saying say why I say things, but he's fighting himself. He's not fighting me. You know what I'm saying?
They speak Shona and Venda languages, man. Get out of here.
I'm not lying.
All you're doing is coming up with these phony conclusions.
No. I'm just answering your questions, and I'm answering them. Come on, why y'all keep cutting me off, man?
Hold on 1 second, brother. The brother in the chat says, Garfield, you want to, so you can mute me. I'm not muting Yasha.
He didn't mute me. I fell off. My battery died.
But you cut me off like a motherfucker.
Yeah, my family, my battery died. I fell off.
No. I'm trying to tell the brother he could come on. Come on.
Yeah, come on. It's all good. He ain't doing nothing crazy over here. That was my era. I fell off.
No. He wasn't saying I kicked you off. He's saying he don't want to come on because everybody moved him or whatever. Yeah,
I'm just letting him know you being quite fair to me. So he shouldn't be afraid.
Maybe because you don't have no respect, my brother. That's why you get muted. Yasha ain't come on here and act the fool. And what happened?
I do that on my platform. Yeah, so what I'm saying is that if the geneticist says that these people have Middle Eastern ancestry and African ancestry, it is a lot. The lie is saying is being said that these people were separated. They could not be a separate people living not amongst the African people and having African and Middle Eastern DNA in them, brother. That is a lie. That is a lie. And to say that I did not, or to insinuate that I did not say that they spoke Bantu today is a lie. I am saying that these people have the genetic history to prove that they are from the Levant. And I'm saying that there is no DNA that can tell you whether you practice Judaism, Islam, or any of those other religions, my brother.
All right, cool. All right, so what else we want to talk about? So I want to move on from the Ethiopian because we brought the science. Bring somebody that debunks the science. I'm not going to talk about that no more. I'm going to leave that alone.
Look, I'm just here, man. You invited me up, man, and I just come and enjoy the platform.
Yeah. No. Chris, anything else you want to talk about? Any other topic?
No, we can move on from that because, when you say something like the Levant, once again, he's being very broad. But the Black Jews of South Africa clearly tells you that they were from Sana'a, a village in Yemen. So when you say the Levant, you're being very broad.
Yeah, they were from, but their story is that they came from Israel to Yemen. That's their story. Okay, and that's the end of it, brother. Your story is different.
That's an oral, that's an oral tradition.
Right, and what I'm saying,
tradition that cannot be backed up with genetics.
What I'm saying, the genetics back up their story and not your story.
No, the genetics back up their ancestry from the people that mixed with them, not who these people are. The
I did not cut you off, Chris. I didn't cut you off. Is that the game we playing? What kind of game is we playing that you cut me off so people can't hear me? What I'm stating is that these Bantu people, these Lemba people cannot be 100% African with Middle Eastern J markers. Flat out, brother.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying that.
But he's playing them off like as if though these people were straight African, as though they have no Middle East. When I say Levant, I'm basically speaking of the Middle East, the Levant. Their story says that they came from Israel to Yemen to Africa. Their DNA says the same thing, brother.
The DNA don't say that. The DNA don't say that. You're making that up. DNA say they come down. Hold on. It says they have Levantine DNA, suggesting that they come from Arabia, not from the Levantine era where Israel is, bro. It's a difference.
But see, that's
the same thing with the Ethiopian.
Brother, that's not true because Arabia is not the Levant, brother. The Levant is Israel, Syria, and Babylon, bro. Not Arabia. Do you know that Arabia and Syria is near the north part of the Middle East, bro, of Southwest of West Asia? Okay, that's like Northwest Asia, bro. The Levant is like Northwest Asia, bro. Arabia is Southwest Asia Minor, bro. What are you talking about? Oh, stop it.
Because you had the olive oil. What the trade they had? The olive oil and the spice trade. Of course you're going to have people moving around. Come on, bro. There's nothing wrong with you.
But you're acting. You're
interrupted. I wanted to get back to that biblical DNA. Put this on. I'm sharing it. He's trying to speak for the last question and so we can move on.
So Yasha, are you aware what the Lemba call themselves?
The Shoney's, I think, ain't that's what they call themselves?
No, they call themselves the white men who came from Sina.
No, I'm not aware. I'm not aware of that. I thank you for bringing that awareness.
The source right here. Hold on. Let me give him the source so you don't think you lying. Hold on. Let me get it right now because I just pull it up for the other brother. Let me pull it up.
I'm not aware that the Lemba called themselves that. I'm aware that Tudor said that's what they call themselves. I have never heard a Lemba refer to themselves as the white man from Yemen.
For my brother so that he knows we ain't playing on no games. We got it right here. Hold on
White people
second.
don't come from Yemen, and that's a fact.
And that's very important to know because at the end of the day, we're not trying to talk bad about the people. And it's also live on my channel when I interviewed Tudor Parfit. He actually acknowledged it. Yes, that's what they said.
Yeah, but what you fail to realize is that Tudor Parfit disagreed with a whole bunch of lies that you were saying, that black people are not Jews and had never ever been, and that they were all proselytes. Tudor Parfit do not say that, brother. Okay, the Israelites over there at the Genesis 49ers had Tudor Parfait over there on his page to clarify, and they were asking specifically tailored questions to counter the bullshit that you did on your channel. And Tudor Parfait agreed more with the Israelites on their channel than he did with you on your channel. And that's a fact. So the clarity is over there on Genesis 49ers channel, not the witchcraft and the fuckery that Garfield Reid was doing on his page.
Hold on, let me get it for you real quick. Lemba. Okay, here we go. Right here. Lemba from White Man. Here we go. Let me show it on the screen. And then you could share your stuff back right here. Lemba say